Hey everybody. Hey. So I've had some interesting days and experiences with animals coming to me, and I wanted to share that with all of you. Animals coming to me not necessarily from the physical realm, but from other realms, and specifically elephants, one that I worked with directly, and interestingly enough, unicorns. So it's like getting the image of coming to an oasis and coming with the animals where we're creating, where we're letting go, dreaming, like an oasis of dreaming. And I have a series coming up that I've been guided to give called Magickal Medicine Transformation Series. And this is the underpinning, in a sense, the basis of it are these connecting into these energies. It's the kind of thing that I do all the time, but I really want to share it with you, where I'm guiding you into these different realms so that you can find those connections, whether it's for respite, for you just want an oasis from the sea of all of the distress and things that are going on in your life personally and out in the community, culture, around the country, around the world, for bringing in places where you've been alone, where you felt disconnected, where you haven't felt creative, where you haven't felt in your mojo, where you have been doubting yourself, where you were feeling critical of yourself, whether you have felt depressed, where if you felt like you're miserable, where there's uncertainty, any of these kinds of things. If you feel like any of those things resonate with you, or you just want a place to go for connection that is in relationship with the animals, with the ways in which we can connect through our hearts, whether you've done that before that you know of or not, that's really not a prerequisite. For feeling that creativity, for feeling like you're in sync and in flow, where you go into the zone. And this is about, it's like a healing oasis, like a healing sanctuary that I am leading people into. And these are the things that I know so far. Like, I wait for the download of information. I wait for what needs to come through next. And it's not just a prescription that somebody gives to me or that I try to give to somebody, although it is like a prescription for your heart in terms of the connections that you can make and the literal medicine that can come in for you, for each individual. And so the aspects that have come in are that it's like an oasis, like I said, it's like a land, creating the land where there's like connecting with the elephants, with connecting with unicorns. And this may sound so wild and weird to you, or it may sound like, oh my God, that's great. But what I keep seeing is the more people that say that's ridiculous, the more I know it's needed. Because the frequencies and the energies that the animals have to bring in for us, whether they're in the physical or from other realms, is so important, especially when things seem so wackadoodle and out of balance, especially when things seem so out of whack. And about finding that very sacred leadership for your own self, like that's like about boundaries for yourself. That's about the kinds of things that you need to bring in and for you, the ways in which you need to create your space for yourself. If you've had a lot of loss or recent losses, and of course, we've all, as a community of the globe, have had many different types of losses this last year. And if you've had very personal losses, we need healing oasis. We need to create that. And it can be very difficult to create that on our own. I think a lot of people have been able to create that in social circles more readily when you're going out and about. But that's been not as possible. And so we've been needing to connect through the phone and through Zoom and through online venues in different ways. And this is actually very amenable to doing this type of very deep opening, connecting, expanding, walking into this oasis, creating this sanctuary. If you've had those losses, it can be very disoriented because how you have connected with those beings, whether they're people or animals, in the past, they're not present. And that's how we kind of orient ourselves in the world and in our emotions and in our thinking and our day-to-day things. And, things meaning our day-to-day activities and our purpose and our meaning and direction. And so when any one person or animal where there's that loss or the loss of a job or whatever it is that you have no longer have in the physical, it calls us to reorient, to regroup, to reorganize, and to know and understand our identity in sometimes new ways. And that can take a lot. And when we're often by ourselves and we have had loss, it can be more challenging. And it's like, I go back to when I've read about Albert Einstein, and as he came up with the different formulas and things that he did, when in the readings that I have read about him, read that whenever he would get stuck, whenever he didn't know where to turn with something, he would go take a nap, or he would go take a walk, or he would go play music. And I love knowing that because he understood, and he would write about this, that he would open into a different part of his brain and let that connection come into a much larger field of contact, a much broader, expansive knowledge and wisdom that is available, but that most of us don't always connect into, or don't do it mindfully, or don't know that we can do it, or don't know how to do it on purpose. And he would come back refreshed and get insights and understanding. And so this is going into that field with the connection with animals, because the animals are so amazing to help us open into our heart, into that way of connecting with love and kindness and compassion, and into a place of comfort and fun and joy and solace, and that we might sometimes have challenges finding on our own, right? And so they are coming willingly. And so as a warm-up, I'll put the link for this upcoming series, but as a warm-up, I got, I don't know if it's a warm-up, that's the word that just popped into my mind. So Fridays at noon Pacific time, I'll be doing some Facebook Live. So that means if you're seeing this on Thursday, April 1st, this is not an April Fool's joke. Tomorrow on the 2nd at noon Pacific, I will be doing a Facebook Live and doing some exploration. I don't know yet exactly what they want me to bring forward. We'll show up, see who shows up, and it will be perfect how that comes. But I will say that this interesting thing happened to me on my birthday the other day. I was part of a group for participating in a group with someone who brought together a healing circle for all of the violence that's happening with Asian Americans, and to bring together a healing circle and do something in a way that was meaningful for her, and that's through healing and through sound, voice sound, and through these beautiful, magnificent sound bath, crystal, different types of bowls. And it was amidst Barbara Brennan School of Healing people. And as people were sharing, I got something. One of the elephants that I had met in Asia, in Thailand, came to me and wanted to speak through me. And I was like, well, why do you want to do that? And she said, I'm Asian, I'm an elephant. Elephants have violence done towards them. Not only me, as in Thailand, that she had stepped on a landmine and had her lower leg blown off and deeply traumatized when she was very, very young. And she doesn't usually like me to start out talking about her from that place, but in this instance, it was very important for her to talk about it from this perspective, and that elephants around the world, not only Asian elephants in India and Thailand and Cambodia and other areas, have had a lot of violence done towards them, a lot of poaching, abuse, and awful things. And so as I was sharing, I was talking about some of the things that she had led me through, and the people who were there had said, oh my God, first of all, that was amazing information, and they were really connecting with it, which was so lovely to me also. And that then it opened up this beautiful dialogue back and forth, and they would say something. One of the things that they said is several people had been having these out of the blue experiences around elephants coming to their attention, where they don't normally have elephants in their kind of life. And they shared a little bit about those things, and it was really amazing. And what Moshe said to me is that these energies that the elephants hold, for instance, they have the capacity to call in and bring in and anchor really specific, very deeply needed information and energies. And she started talking with me with this particular group the other day, and I love it that it was on my birthday, the birthing of something, letting something birth anew in my life that is of use for others, and that is medicine for all of us. And the elephant was talking about how elephants are very, very social. And she was showing me pictures of, using their trunks and walking together and moving together, and how they are herds, and how their social structure is really important, and how I shouldn't say the social structure, she was showing me that energy, the movements of how the nannies help take care of the babies, and how, the friendships and how they talk and connect with each other, and how important everyone is. Like every single being there is really important. And how humans, when I was there in Thailand a few years ago, she said to me, humans forget this. Humans forget this way of connecting. And of course, we've seen during COVID times, a lot of these things have come to our awareness in different ways. We might say it differently. This is coming through her, through this elephant perspective, and how the things that she led me to seeing throughout different dimensions, and bringing that back, and the connections between different communities of elephants, her herd, and so forth, and how that branches out, and how with the hatred and the violence that is erupting, of this suppressed, frustrated, deeply, she's saying, disconnected souls, how we all need to do our part in gathering together again in our connections. And it shows up differently for different people. So this is one of the ways that I can create that and partake in that, and how important it is for each of us as individuals, because where we each feel these places of disconnect in whatever ways we do, that translates out into the world, and it is part of the collective. And we're also informed by the collective, and we all need to break out of the collective patterns that are harmful, and that we have living inside of ourselves for whatever, our family reasons, for our, how we've grown up, our culture, our community, so forth. But that it's really time, and she's showing me, Moshe's showing me, that it's time to step through those places and step into sync with yourselves and each other, and to do that in the ways in which you can. So there's a lot of deep emotion about all of this. So I'm going to show up again tomorrow at noon on Friday, noon Pacific time. So I don't know, whatever time that is for you in your time zone, here on my Facebook page for Sandy Rakowitz. And let's see what she wants to bring through, what Moshe wants to come through, and the elephant, and reading messages. So to those of you who are on, Eleanor, I miss you too, sweetie, and Jen and Lorraine, and can't see who else is on, but thank you. And this morning, and in the last month or so, this unicorn energy has been coming through. So I've not been one to draw or paint or think about unicorns. It's sort of out in the ethers, but I've been really sitting with, what is this energy that is asking to come through? And got all sorts of great stuff this morning. So we will see, like, what is the purpose of that? I don't even know what it's called. It's a horn, but saying horn isn't quite right, but I don't have the right word. But what is that purpose of that? And this beautiful unicorn started showing me things. So I don't know if that's I'm going to be talking about that tomorrow, or in the series of the Magickal Medicine Transformation series. But we will see when we show up tomorrow what will come through for our medicine, and helping our own creative sparks, and walking in sync, as Moshe said, and respite, and forming and creating this oasis for ourselves and each other and with each other. And please share. Please let people know, so you'll be able to see this. Let people know that they can see this from today and that they can hop on tomorrow. And we will see what happens next. Bye, everyone.